Okay. Looks like we're back. Let me check. Hey guys, sorry we got interrupted. If you can hear us out there, let us know. I'm gonna refresh the other page to make sure that it's working. It says we're live. Yeah, it looks like we're good. So if you can hear us, let us know. Yeah, thankfully my friend said that it wasn't working. But when I went to watch the playback, it had all the 20 whatever minutes of us. So hopefully it's all good. It'll just be broken up into 2 parts, which is fine. Cool. So anyway, we were talking about before we got interrupted. Kind of like we were really talking a lot about like the mentality of libertarianism, to believe that corporations, have people's best interest out for them versus government. And then we started talking about this leaked audio that came out from this Exxon interview with a major lobbyist, of which at first was really funny because the official response was, fuck that guy, and that's not who we are or whatever. And then they were like, okay, well, we're sorry, because it started to other people started coming out, you know what I mean, basically, and saying the same thing, like, look, we know this is who you are, right? We know that we can look at the donations that you've made towards these senators, right? Specifically. Yeah. Anyway, but it's a very important issue because we can look at the crazy motherfucking weather that we're having right now, right? And realize from what all the scientists are saying that, there is massive climate catastrophes happening all over the place, right? And some of these companies, the biggest companies on earth, have to be responsible. You know what I mean? Coca-Cola, the biggest plastic polluter on the planet. They have to be responsible, right? These oil and gas companies. I mean, and I want to get to the building in a moment because it is, I believe, related. But did you see that fucking fire in the Gulf of Mexico?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
The Mexican oil company? It's one of the craziest things I've ever seen. Let me see if I can pull that up. I should have the video here. Let me pull this up. Okay, yeah, here it is. I just gotta click browser. So yeah, here's the video of it. I think it was Pemex was the company. Dude, this natural gas fire, they were saying this was basically like lava.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like lava. You can see it. It looks like a fucking movie, man.
Just like a giant volcano.
And this was man-made.
Yeah.
Totally. So,
I mean, I can't believe this tower right here next to it didn't catch fire.
Yeah. They're just sitting over there like, fuck that. Sucks for us, boys.
But this is crazy. I mean, the people, they like, what other, like, the ocean is on fire. I mean, that should never happen.
Yeah, I mean, we are getting progressively crazier and crazier, and everyone's just acting like, well, that's the way things are. All right, okay, we can't change it. Right. Now, get a bag of marshmallows and come roast them over the flaming ocean that we have now that we get to enjoy.
Dude, that's one of the most annoying things about like the libertarian argument. It's just like, so what are you saying? Are you saying just fuck Earth, Elon Musk, we're all gonna go to Mars? That doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Like, we haven't figured out how to not fuck up this planet. Well, first of all, we don't even know how to fix that. We don't even know how to fix Mars, right? But who's to say that even if we did figure that out, we're not just going to go there and fuck that place up too? Like, that's not our track record.
Yeah. I mean, doesn't the libertarian mindset kind of just lead to the movie Aliens? And was that fun for anybody? Like, did anybody seem like they were having a good time?
Or Terminator or any dystopian. I mean, all those dystopian movies, I feel like, come out of that. where private corporations are allowed to basically do whatever the fuck they want to do. RoboCop, right?
Yeah.
Blade Runner. I mean, they all are the same premise, which is amazing to me is how, millions of people have watched these movies, but they've learned fucking nothing apparently.
Yeah. And it seems like people kind of are resigned to the fact that they don't have any control or something. I mean, but we put ourselves in the situation. I think we can get ourselves out of it. But
I agree. I agree, but we've also got to vote. Albert doesn't vote, which is just
right.
annoys the fuck out of me. You know what I mean? And
Well, yeah.
and I get
Mhm.
I get why, because he didn't. I get he didn't like Joe Biden. I get it. You know what I mean? I didn't.
Oh yeah,
I didn't either.
I get it too.
Yeah, I didn't like him either. Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah, he has like a wax death mask, and you have to just watch that when he gives a speech. It's so hard to watch him talk. But what?
Yeah, but I mean, there's more than that's the thing is that it's hard enough to get people to vote for the president when it comes to like local elections or like for senator or Congress or any of that shit. Dude, those numbers are crazy low, right?
Yeah,
What is it like?
and those are really the most important people
Right,
to cast a vote for. They affect your life more than
right.
the president does, more than Congress does. I mean, it's not as if Congress is like this hotbed of action.
Yeah,
Constantly.
it's interesting because like you really start to realize in the last couple of years you really start to realize like I've started to realize at least all the powers that I didn't realize the governor had. Right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When you look at people say like Congress is slow when they're referring to the Congress in DC, and Congress is slow. I think it's kind of supposed to be slow in a sense. But if you look at Congress versus in addition to your state Congress and state House representatives and local government and governor, that all can move very quickly. Things can change fast with all that combined. And I think we have the power to make things better and
Right.
to enforce better regulations and stuff like that. But it's about changing the mindset of people where everyone's kind of content to deal with the shitty system that they're in.
Right.
But there will come a point where there will be a critical mass of people who are unemployed, impoverished, and dissatisfied with everything. And I think
Yeah.
the good thing about this is what I wanted to say about the Exxon guy. The good thing about what happened with the Exxon executive and Steve Mnuchin, I think his name's McCoy, is that as things accelerate and as corporations get more power and they get more openly corrupt, they'll also become more openly decadent or like openly they'll be more transparent about more cavalier about like how much power they have and everything, more cocky and haughty.
Right.
And that will resonate with people. The good thing about this is as they get more power, it will also become more annoying to everybody else. And so that's leading to something.
Right. But it's it's one of those things where like it has to hit like rock bottom.
Yes.
Before
it does have to hit rock bottom.
Before
and it's
better.
crazy to think like you look at the ocean, it's on fire and people are dying everywhere. And it's like, this is not rock bottom? Okay.
Well, speaking of, and this, I don't want to make jokes about this, but that was the Miami thing is terrible, and I mean I don't know what all you've read about that so far, but so far 40 as far as last I checked, 46 people have been confirmed dead, 94 people still missing. I
would assume everyone that's missing is probably dead if they were in the.
I would assume because it's been what a week, and they went ahead and escalated the final demolition of the building because Elsa, the tropical storm, is like making landfall like today.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that one aspect.
Yeah, and so it actually gave them less time to look for survivors or whatever. But from what I've read, the people, the landlords of this building knew about the structural damages, and it's not alone.
Since 2018.
Right, and it's not alone. A bunch of these buildings that are on the Surfside beach right there have the same issues, and part of it is that the beach is coming up more, right? And that the ocean water is rising a little bit, and the other issue is that they're actually building further and further out, closer to the beach than they used to.
Yeah.
And so,
Well,
and they're doing that because they say, well, we have the technology to do this now, but you also run the risk of when that oceanic level rises a little bit, right? And you have these cracks in the foundation, it's disastrous.
yeah, I was trying to square the fact that so many people's lives were at risk, and yet they still chose to do nothing, or they were ineffectually scrambling to do something too late. And I don't get how. I mean, that's got to be a signal that something is screwed up in our mindset, where people who own these buildings, these landlords, don't take care of them, and then 145 people, I think, is going to be the total around there,
Right.
die
Right. From this
because
one
of negligence.
from this one disaster, just one isolated incident.
Yeah, which, I mean, it would have cost them something like $15 million to fix that, but I don't know. I think people have it within them to say, "Oh, it's going to cost me that much money." Well, I still need to let people know that their lives are at risk, and blah 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 blah. But for some reason,
Right. But had
wasn't
those
communicated to people.
yeah, had those people have known, they probably would have a good deal of them have left.
Yeah, and who knows? I mean, you could probably still sell it to some people and say like, "Hey, you want to live in a Blade Runner dystopia apartment or something, and charge for it," and get some like cool Silicon Valley people in there, put some neon lights, and like it could collapse at any moment.
Right.
Make it like an escape room thing or something like that.
Yeah.
But not to make light.
Well, but it's all so fucked. I mean, today I think they said 2 people in Portland died from just the crazy heat that they've been having.
Yeah, the freeze in Texas.
The freeze
And
in Texas that killed I don't remember how many people. A
yeah.
bunch of people died, children and old people.
Well, how are they gonna sell
Homeless,
that to us?
and then here's the thing: is nobody knows the numbers on the homeless that dies from shit like this.
Yeah, they go unreported, and there are a ton.
Yeah.
They're dying every day from different things that we probably don't track.
COVID,
but
I'm sure they don't even get tracked with COVID or any of that either. You know what I mean?
What's going to be interesting is in the coming years seeing how corporations spin this.
Right.
I mean, I'm at the age now where I'm kind of like an outsider, and I don't, I mean, I don't like new music, and I don't like anybody new at all. And
hey, wait, how old are you now? How old are you now?
I'm 30 now.
Hey, welcome, because I've been here. I've already been here.
It feels not as bad as I thought it would. But what I mean is it's now my joy is kind of just like sitting back and watching the news and be like, damn, wow, they're really getting away with this.
Yeah, I know.
Like, fuck, BP is really talking to people about climate consciousness and stuff like that. Like,
no, that's
fuck.
Well, and that's the thing. Exxon does the same thing. But what's fucked up is that when you realize it's all just gimmick, it's all just a ploy, right?
Yeah.
That they're pretending like, hey, we're on your team, we're on board, and then you find out we're actually paying senators to vote against this shit.
I think people need to stop apologizing for on behalf of the government and on behalf of corporations, and they need to start being mad. One really good take on this that I heard was on Chapo Trap House. They were talking about Bernie was really good at expressing anger and like righteous anger at things that were fucked up and wrong. Right. And the Democratic Party didn't give him a chance. So the other candidate who was really good at expressing anger kind of won the presidency, Right. And that was the tug of war at the time, is like, who is going to be able to recognize that a lot of people are angry and fed up and capitalize on that.
Well, I guess I suppose, but I feel like if you're going to take that philosophy, right? That was also Trump's part of his strength, right? was that he had a bunch of people who were pissed off, more angry, right,
Yeah.
supporting him
No, that's what I mean.
than the Hillary
Yeah.
supporters. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Is that
Okay.
instead of choosing the candidate who was able to embody that kind of righteous anger that could get everybody on their side,
Right.
I think Bernie would have won against Trump because he has more legitimacy. He has like legitimate policies and things like that. And I would have liked to see a debate between him and Trump.
It was a layup, I think. So here's the deal. Well, just to I don't want to relive the entire shit experience, but
Yeah.
they were told that Biden was the electable one. Remember, that was the whole thing. But Biden's the electable one because he's more moderate and Bernie's a radical socialist. But Trump blundered and fucked every fucking thing up that he could with COVID. You know what I mean? He couldn't even get people to wear masks and all that. And and when you looked at the numbers, that freaked old people out because old people, right, are way more sensible for whatever reason because they've lived through shit. Right? So they're like, oh, another vaccine? Sure. Just put it right here. I've already had polio and fucking all the SARS and all the other shit. Just get it's mostly the crazy internet and boomers and shit that were like, oh, I'm not gonna do the COVID vaccine. You know what I mean? But like the older generations, the people who were born in like the anywhere from like the 20s to the 50s, they were like, oh yeah, for sure. What But they were freaked out that they couldn't go see their family, that they couldn't go do anything, you know what I mean? And Trump fucked that up so bad that he lost a lot of Republicans to the point to where I know that Bernie would have beat him. Anybody would have beat him at that point, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And it was sort of like, I think that was maybe part of the reason why Bernie didn't win the nomination is because anybody really could beat him, and Biden had that kind of name recognition, even though he's fucking like a mush brain. He's so fucking, I can't listen to him. He's as bad at speaking as Trump is. And so, but I don't know. I feel like we missed a moment.
They're both terrible. But what's hilarious, I was actually listening on, I think it was on the 4th of July when I was cooking some food, to old like Robin Williams stand up. And Robin Williams just shits all over Biden for like his dementia and saying just crazy shit. And this was in like 10 years ago. And I'm just like, oh man, if only you knew, Robin, if only you knew.
Yeah, what he would become,
Right.
And funny enough, Robin Williams was in a movie about a comedian that becomes president, and that's kind of like what happened with Trump. The voting machines fucked up, and like his name for some reason got extra votes, and then he became president.
I've never seen that. What movie is that?
Here we are. I don't know. I wish I fucking knew. We keep bringing up references.
I'm going to look that up because I'm just adding this to my... I already added the other thing. Robin Williams, comedian, president, right?
Yeah. But even if, Biden did win, and I think...
Man of the Year.
What's up?
It's called Man of the Year.
Man of the Year.
I've never seen it, so I'm definitely going to check that out at some
point. I
point.
wonder if it's good.
I don't know, but I love Robin Williams, man. The movie that he did about his son like killing himself is so ironic and sad. Did you ever see that one?
Yeah. He was good, but he also did some kind of fucked up movies, like that movie Jack.
Well,
where he was like...
Well, the thing is that was fucked up. It is fucked up, but also... I don't know. There's like some weird like Freudian shit in there, right? Like if you were adult in a kid's body, you would try to, wouldn't you? I don't know. It's weird.
It's like, they wanted to do the Tom Hanks movie Big again, but they couldn't do the exact same thing.
Right.
It wasn't far enough away that they could just do a remake of it. They had to be like, all right, well, what if he has a rare genetic disease? And this time, which the disease does exist, but people don't, people that have it aren't born looking like Robin Williams. They're born looking like the DJ from DJ on what is it? DJ Onward?
DJ Onward.
Onward?
Oh, I shouldn't laugh at that. That's fucked up.
That's what it looks like. It doesn't look like fucking Robin Williams, but they wanted to sell it to people, and that's part of what's so fucked up with America.
So you look like whatever South African trailer park crackhead.
Yeah, exactly. And that's corporations will sell you anything. They'll lie to your face because they think we're stupid, and they'll be like, hey, here, watch this movie about Robin Williams, and he's a grown guy. This is a real disease. This is based on a true story, except none of this shit is fucking plausible or ever happened.
Well, yeah,
almost.
I'm not even super mad about that movie. I feel like it's less offensive than Big, in a way. But I do feel like did you ever see the one? It was a horror movie with the family. I think it's called The Orphan, that adopts the girl that has like the aging disease, and like,
yeah,
that's a fucking creepy one.
That's fucking creepy, man. Because I always had like I was always afraid of dolls and stuff when I was a kid, you know, and anything that's like, or like clowns, you know, anything that's like innocent, but really it like wants to bathe in your blood.
Yeah,
you know?
and she just kept killing all these dudes' husbands and shit to like try to marry them or whatever, sleep with them. It was fucked up.
No, I'm getting creeped out. And like, imagine looking at a kid and you're like, oh, you're like 80 or something.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, you can't trust nobody. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Well, let's see. What else topics do we have to talk about? Speaking of, we're kind of segue there. Hey, John joined the stream. He said, "Yo," I think. Let me go back and make sure that's what he said. He said,
Yo,
woo. No, he said, "Woo." Hey.
Yeah, that's pretty much the same thing, you know.
Thanks for joining, John. Coleman's is on the show today. He's killing it. We're drinking. We're talking some shit. I wanted to get into this is a perfect segue. Celebrity news. I actually got some music we're gonna play for this. Let me play the song. Where the fuck is this song at? See, it was queued up before and then I forgot it. Here it is. See, I've started to try to make sound effects, you know what I mean, for stuff. Anyway, here's one for celebrity news. Which I don't think Coleman can even hear, but it's like some trans shit. Alright. Anyway, it's time for entertainment news or celebrity news or whatever you want to call it. Let's see. What do we got here? Oh, there's been a bunch of celebrity news been going on. Let's start with the biggest story, basically, which was Bill Cosby.
Oh yeah, I fucking hate celebrities, man. Like, what's the point, dude? I mean, all right, Bill Cosby, he might as well be free. Like, it doesn't fucking matter. Whatever. Like, he's already, everyone fucking loves him in prison. Everybody fucking loves that guy. Like, people are probably writing to their family, like, I'm standing right across from Bill Cosby. He's fucking great.
Do you think,
you know, if you murdered somebody, you don't probably care what Bill Cosby did.
Do you think? Oh yeah, that's probably true. I mean, he's in there with a bunch of other rapists. He's the most famous rapist.
And rapist is like the baseline for people that are in there.
Right. There's people that like kill people and eat people and all that.
Yeah. Or there are also people with innocent marijuana convictions. I shouldn't say that. It's, you know.
John said it was Sandstorm. That basically was the song that I made, was Sandstorm. That's interesting to think. I bet there were some sad prisoners the day that Bill Cosby got out, and they were like, "Fuck, he was so funny. Yeah. Like, he made this so much better." You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Dude. I mean, that's the thing. That was the good thing about like
Bill Cosby's.
Is it actually
his punishment? In my opinion, should have been that he should have had to stay in there and make all those other people's lives better.
Yeah. He should have had to do a show every month. He should have had to run the open mic. Oh, right. Fuck.
That's right.
Bill Cosby runs the prison open mic.
Because running open mic sucks, and that is punishment enough. You have to do that until the day that you die.
Yeah, what better hell for an entertainer?
Right.
But yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know. I like conspiracy theories, and people say he was like trying to buy NBC or whatever, and it's like, sure, that sounds like it could be true.
Dude, he's worth a fuckload of money. At least from what I understand, like $400-something million. At least.
Is he still worth the same amount of money?
Yeah.
Fuck. You know, I bet he could probably, if he gets like one or two really good jokes about it, and he's able to kind of brush it off, then he could probably do stand-up again or whatever.
Well, he's actually already apparently been talking about it, and he's already like been on Twitter and posting some shit since he's been out.
I don't know.
He's also like legally blind now, which you can visibly notice. He has to be like walked around wherever he goes.
That should be the name of his next album, man.
What?
I'm legally blind now.
I'm legally blind Right.
Ah,
Well, yeah, it's pretty crazy. Actually, but before we move on from this, what's sad as fuck is that there's been a bunch of people that have been basically coming out and saying because of the technicality, right? Because of the lapse of due process that was able to convict him because if you know anything about his story, like he basically gave a confession in another um, case, right? That was supposed to not be used for his case. Now they're saying that like he never really admitted to it and all these things and the lack of evidence. I mean, they're saying that people like Weinstein and this might actually have a chance of getting released on the same kind of bullshit, and it's just crazy to think that you can have that much money and that's just it.
I don't think it's about money. I think it is that they wanted to get these people convicted, and they were so sure that they did it. And sure, they did it. Like I'm sure Bill Cosby did that. Why not? Like you have all that money and fame, and it makes you into a terrible person, and you go crazy, and
Right.
and you become jaded. But
and it was 60 people. We're not talking like 5, 6, 10, even 60 something people. I think.
Yeah. Obviously, he did it, but I think the fault was in assuming that well we can cut corners in this case or something like that, and
right.
You still have to do it the right way, or otherwise this happens. And if you really respect the victims, and you want to make sure this doesn't happen again, and that they're put away forever, and you show that there are consequences for their actions, then you actually follow through and you put them in jail. And they failed to do that in this case. And they might fail with Weinstein. If that happens, that's going to undo the efforts of so many people.
This is where I'm gonna have to get Albert's opinion at some point, because he's up to date with all the TikTok conspiracies, which I don't know if you know, TikTok is fucking crazy. It's literally just guys that sit around and make shit up, and then they put it on TikTok, and then they get like 1 million views, and it becomes a thing. It's wild how it works.
Like what? Like explain it to me.
Oh, there's any if you go on TikTok and just start looking up conspiracies, right? Like there's a thing called hashtag conspiracy talk, which is the shittiest rabbit hole to go down. And I only know about it because Albert does it, and we shared like the fucking booze and news search bar, right? And so every time I get on TikTok or whatever, it's just crazy conspiracy videos, which are just guys who make up shit, and they'll get millions of views, and then that's how gossip spreads. So now you have people saying that the earth is hollow, it's full of fucking marshmallow people, whatever the fuck they believe in.
Yeah. I found these. I found a bunch of like goop tracks leading into this cave. And I'm gonna go into it next week. Follow me.
Follow me. Yeah. There was a bunch of marshmallows into a cave, which were their babies. Yeah, who knows?
It's like the flat Earth thing. I mean, that kind of was bred on YouTube,
right.
And I don't know. People really believe it, but I mean, the people that I talk to that kind of give it any credence.
Yeah, TikTok is like YouTube for people with zero attention span.
The people that I've talked to that give that stuff any kind of credence is that it's more of like a logic kind of argument for them, where they're not really trying to say the earth is flat. They're just trying to be like, well, haha, you're stupid because you can't prove that it's round or something. Or
no, I don't. And it's like, I don't think so. I
even if you meet the sorry, go ahead.
I don't think so. So, do you ever watch All Gas No Brakes?
No.
It's a great YouTube channel. Shout out to them. Amazing. He went to some flat Earth conventions and interviewed people. You would be surprised how quickly it devolved into just QAnon anti-Semitic bullshit.
Yeah, and that's been going on for the deep conspiracy theories that are sort of divorced from reality. They always end up being anti-Semitic somehow, and
oh yeah,
I don't know why, but that's been the kernel at the middle of a lot of the stuff. Well, like I would go and look at like old conspiracy videos. Like there's this one called called like True Conspiracies or something on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
It was made in the 60s, and you start watching it and he's talking about bankers and how they're trying to fuck everybody, and you're like, yeah, okay, yeah. And then he's like, and the bankers are Jews, and you're like, oh no, no. Oh, no,
I
no.
know where this is going. I know where this is fucking going.
Yeah, you're not getting me.
Yeah. No, that's where look. It's always it's what's wild to me is that a lot of the QAnon conspiracies that are out there right now are like the just the deep conspiracies are not even that different than the ones that they had, beginning of the fucking 20th century, where they were
Yeah,
like, "Oh, did you know that Jewish people are shapeshifters and they steal children?" I mean, if you look at any of like the reptilian, alien bullshit conspiracies, that's the same shit. They just rebranded it. You know what
yeah.
I mean?
Well, I started off in high school. There were a bunch of Christian conspiracy theories on YouTube, and I don't remember them being anti-Semitic. I remember them being like very heavily Christian and saying like Bush was the Antichrist, or the guy who would come after Bush was the Antichrist, or something. But
Right.
it was never Jewish. It was always kind of just based in revelations.
Isn't it odd that Trump didn't end up being that? Instead, he was the chosen one, although he was the most likely. Like he was elected in high school, most likely to be the Antichrist. He somehow avoided it. You know what I mean?
Oh man, my connection got lost for like a second. I fucked up. Yeah, my connection like fucked up. Sorry.
Oh, well, never mind. I said I believe
I
that.
missed. No. Trump is. You saying Trump is like the most likely to be the Antichrist?
Well, that was probably like in high school when he was elected. You know what I mean?
Yeah, most likely to be the Antichrist. And I think I don't get the end. First of all, the whole end times thing is bullshit because
Right.
um,
No, it's total bullshit.
there's an end times. I mean, people that perpetuate it know it's bullshit. Like there's an end times magazine. It's called like End Times Magazine or whatever, and it says at the bottom that it's the longest running End Times magazine in circulation. And it's like, man, if you're predicting the apocalypse, that might not be something that you want to advertise. We've been saying the world's going to end longer than anybody else.
Dude, it's been happening. Dude, there's been like 4 or 5 in my life. There's the
Yeah,
Mayan
no,
one,
you know what?
Y2K.
And that's a conservative estimate too, because
Yeah.
most of the people that predict it keep doing it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I mean, it was all Christian based, and it was nice and humble, and fine. Satan. It was based in the whole satanic panic thing, but
well, that's another big thing that I think people don't even realize that's just a kind of periodic part of American culture that comes up and goes. Like it flares up. Like satanic panic comes and goes. It happened. Usually every 40, 50 years there's a big flare up of that.
Yeah, or something, some
Right.
big scare.
What do you think about, speaking of conspiracies and celebrity news and all that? What did you think about the McAfee thing, where he was found dead in his cell, and he was telling everybody like, "Oh, if I'm found dead in my cell, it was a suicide." Oh, no, it wasn't suicide. I got a tattoo on my leg.
I don't know. I don't know enough about McAfee and his personality
He's
to
a
know if he
crazy.
would have done it.
He's a crazy fucker. I can tell you that.
Somebody had a good take where he was like, he seems like the kind of guy that would say that and then kill himself. So I don't know.
Yeah, he's definitely.
Was he? Well, first of all, was he in prison for life?
I'm not. Well, he was convicted on some crazy shit. I mean, definitely. He fraud. I believe even murder. I think in Belize. He had been charged maybe for murdering his neighbor who like shot his dogs or some shit. Because apparently when he went there, I don't remember. I gotta look this all up. But he had all these goddamn dogs, right? That he would use to like patrol his grounds, right? Like he went down there and became like basically a drug lord, right? And he would like have this kind of like security and all these guns and dogs. And apparently his neighbor got pissed off and shot one of his dogs, and that guy just got murdered like the next day. Right, and so that was one of the things he was being charged for: tax evasion, fraud, I think a whole slew of other like what they call white collar crime, right? Basically grifting left and right.
Yeah.
But
But it's different than Epstein. I mean, Epstein kind of like had direct connection with this whole underworld, and
but that's the interesting thing. Someone had access to his Twitter account or whatever, because when he died, they posted like the letter Q or whatever. So it just adds to the mythos of all of that bullshit.
Yeah, Q is complete bullshit. I mean, first of all, Q kind of started, or at least really took off, around the time of the 2017 Las Vegas shooting. Which, remember that? That was fucking weird. John
says John commented and said that he was actually being extradited, and he was going to stand trial in the USA. So yeah, he was probably fucked, and he didn't want to like. I don't know. I think that he just probably didn't want to stand trial for anybody.
I could really see. I mean, even Epstein, and maybe not it, but I don't know. It's like once you're at that point, you're so jaded, and you've already like fucked a million people, and killed people, and fucking you've like burned out the pleasure center in your brain. It's like, what do you really have to live for anyway? Epstein's death was so suspicious, though. That's what makes it seem like a suicide. McAfee, right. I don't really know. I mean, he seems like he could kill himself legitimately, and joke about it before he did it. I don't know. I don't think that he has anything to kind of what's he gonna tell people, like.
No, he was a con.
It's not like Epstein.
He was a notorious con man. Was part of it. And yeah, he had like lied to a bunch of his investors and stolen people's money. I forget how much money he had stolen, tons of it.
Yeah, I think he probably actually did kill himself. I mean, as far as I know, the circumstances surrounding his suicide weren't very suspicious, so it's not as interesting as Epstein.
Right.
But it's interesting that people are trying to connect him to the Q thing, because Q now is it's got to be losing steam. Right?
No,
there's no way.
No, it's not. Which is ironic, because they have done these documentaries where they have told us who it is. Like they've given us the people that are behind the machine that have posted this shit. Right? That 8chan guy was the guy that did all that bullshit. You know what I mean? And there were other people that he was working with, like the little guy from 4chan who started that, helped him. All those.
Oh, really?
Those are the motherfuckers who started all that shit, man. And there's some really good Vice documentaries, I think, that you can watch that just flesh all that out, but it's not losing steam, because the conspiracy is a weird thing. For one, people just love to believe it because it's like they can't grasp the reality, which is that we have enabled these people to do shitty things. You know what I mean? Any kind of moral responsibility that we have, we're just going to avoid that, and we're going to pretend like that doesn't exist. It's some alien threat, bullshit, conspiracy. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with us letting these people have too much money and power to do anything. You know what I mean?
The real truth behind a lot of the conspiracy stuff is, people will get like a document showing that so-and-so manipulated this election, or dosed people with LSD.
Oh, did I lose him?
The truth is that they see that and they say, well, they're trying to control things.
Right.
And maybe to an extent, but what they're really trying to do is cause chaos and fuck people up and make things seem like, oh, I can't trust the news, I can't trust this, I can't trust that. And so, the only thing I can really do is just go to my job and just be a fucking cog. They're trying to kind of trap you and keep you away from reality, so you only have the choice of being an individual and living your kind of like individualized life in a safe way that doesn't conflict with anything.
The South. Did you ever watch South Park? Are you a fan?
Yeah, I used to watch it. I stopped watching after it just got so ubiquitous and everyone was talking about it, and it kind of got annoying.
I feel you. There's an older episode where they have I think they're called the Hardly Boys, which was their like parody of who was
Hardy
that?
Boys.
Yeah, the Hardy Boys. And they were like, ooh, a clue, right? I got a raging clue. But
Yeah.
the whole thing about that episode was like how the government is like, oh, we're all powerful. Look what we do. We do, we do everything. You know what I mean? Like I believe there is
Yes. Is that the
that,
one where Bush was pretending that he carried out 9/11?
yeah,
And they're like, we
exactly.
want people to think that.
Right, right. Because the thing is that if you think that that Big Brother is real and that they can just come in and fuck you up and they can watch everything and they know everything you do, that's the fucking end game. Then they don't even have to have the technology to do it. They've already got people running for their lives. You know what I mean? Scared to do anything.
Yeah.
Scared to revolt.
And that's the struggle is against fear
Right.
itself, because that's what controls most people.
No.
And there are things to be afraid of.
Yeah, I think that is probably the largest motivator. All right, well, I've only got a couple things left that we're going to talk about today. Thanks, Coleman, for joining us. I like to end with some good news after bad news, right? I don't know if you know this, but we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but just going to say it again. The Buffalo mayoral race, if you were unaware, was won. The primary, was won by by a socialist candidate, the first socialist to win an American mayoral race mayoral race in like 60 years. Now the candidate is running a write-in campaign against her. But she's running on Medicare for All as a big part of her platform and advocating for that and other things.
Yeah. Is this Buffalo, New York?
Buffalo, New York, yeah.
Okay.
And if you don't know much about Buffalo, New York, it has been a very industrial part of America for a long time, right? Very blue collar, very working class, right? Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So right now, and pretty much it's always a Democrat that wins. So it would have to be some kind of fucking bizarro universe to where the Republican candidate can win. But she did win that primary, which is good news. So
For a socialist. Okay.
yeah, in like 60 years, man.
Is America a socialist country? I mean, I kind of think of us
No.
as just a really shitty, poorly run socialist country.
No, I don't think we are. I think that we're very
like really bad policies.
I don't think so. I think that we're very capitalist. I believe if we have socialism in any way, it's socialism for the rich. I believe that our socialism just benefits corporations, not really people.
Yeah. Clickism.
Right. Here's another good story. I want to give people before we go. The Seattle Uber union. So, Seattle Uber drivers had a strike to receive sick day compensation and to get back paid for tips that they were owed, and they won. So the settlement will put $3.4 million into the hands of 15,000 Seattle Uber drivers.
That's fucking great. That's so cool.
Yep, that's a good one.
Yeah. No, that's good news.
And so they will actually, kind of get treated somewhat like people for a chance.
Anytime people band together, it's good news.
And the last thing that I want to talk about was a really cool story. Senator Sherrod Brown from Ohio is leading Democrats in introducing the Supplemental Security Income Restoration Act, which is a really interesting thing. And I'm probably going to talk about it more next week because we've run a little bit long today, but I want to talk a little bit about it today. Basically, this is going to strengthen Social Security, right? And it's going to give a bunch more assistance to elderly people and people at that age who are using Medicare and stuff like that, right? Here's what the SSI Restoration Act would achieve. It would raise this is actually across the board. It would raise the sub-poverty level monthly benefits, currently $794 a month, to 100% of the federal poverty level, which is a 31% increase. and index them to inflation. So it has like a chance there to increase. It would update the index of assets individuals or couples may have up to 10,000 and 20,000 respectively. The current limit is 2,000 for an individual and 3,000 for a couple. And it's been that same level since 1989. So that's pretty goddamn huge. That's a big part about like poverty in this country and how it's like institutional, because you can't even if the government gives you some money, you can't get a leg up because like during the pandemic, right? If you were getting unemployment, technically you were supposed to, if you were putting that into savings, stop getting that unemployment. Oh, sorry, I now have $3,000 in my savings account. I just don't need this unemployment anymore. Right?
Yeah, they don't take into account how there's a on paper cost of things, and the government and people who shape policies don't take into account how much things actually cost. You know, people make mistakes, things fuck up, things happen, and
the prices of shit, the prices of shit change. The prices of rent have just constantly gone up.
Yeah, things become scarce all of a sudden, especially during a pandemic. Can't get toilet paper, you have to go down to McDonald's. Now you got to buy a McDonald's sandwich. That increases the price of going to the bathroom.
There's a couple more provisions in this. They're all really great, so I really hope this passes. I want to start really pushing this because I think this is a big thing. It says update to the index SSI's income rules, which have never been updated since the program was signed into law in 1972. These reforms would allow individuals to earn up to $399 a month from working and up to $123 a month in assistance from other sources, including Social Security, veterans benefits, and pension payments without being subject to a benefit reduction. Also, these reforms will reward, not penalize, SSI recipients who want to earn additional income to provide for themselves and families. That's another big part. It will eliminate the marriage penalty and increase the benefit for married couples to double the individual rate to put marriage equality within reach for SSI beneficiaries, and eliminate the benefit for reductions that penalize beneficiaries who receive in-kind help from friends and families, such as grocers or a place to stay. Now that's huge, actually. So like, for example, like right now I live with my parents, right? And I've been renovating an apartment to stay at, right? But in order for me to get any kind of government aid, right, I have to move all of my shit to that apartment, all of my bills, and you know what I mean? So the state will recognize that I'm poor, because right now they go, oh, you live with your parents. Sure, you're poor, but you live with them, right? So we're gonna assume that that's all part of your wealth. That's your money, right? Which is not necessarily the case. So there right now, in case you were unaware, 51%, I believe, is the last number I saw, of millennials are living at home with their parents. And this was a statistic that I got from about a month ago, right? Which is actually higher than it was at the greatest height it was at during the Great Depression, which is very crazy to even think about. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I think 49% of, and this was, we were talking about like, I think, what was it, 25 to 35-year-olds? So at the height of the Great Depression, I believe 49% of them lived at home with their parents. But that disqualifies you from getting a lot of government aid, which is just complete shit, because what are you supposed to do when you're down and out? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It shouldn't disqualify you from getting the kind of money that can help you get back on your feet, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's sort of strange. I mean, people don't really have, if you're down and out, when you most need to exercise autonomy over your life and trying to figure things out and make choices for yourself, the government restricts that and says like, no, you can't get this money and you don't deserve it. And so they don't really have any recourse socially. Like there's not an argument to be made for that nationally, because I think people kind of say like, well, the government shouldn't infringe on me, but also anybody who's getting help from the government, fuck them. and they should have to submit to drug tests and things like that.
Right. Oh, look, John actually just posted 52% of 18 to 29-year-olds live at home, which is even higher. So there you go. I mean, that's I would wager that's let me see. I don't know what percent of the population that is. That's got to be tens of millions. I mean, what, 40, 50 million people maybe?
Yeah.
It's insane.
Well, at the same time, though, I think maybe parents are a little bit cooler with their kids staying at home. I think that's a cultural change. And other times,
well, but they have to be. What are they going to do? Let them be homeless? I mean, we know what happens to homeless people in this society, right?
If they get a record deal, they get discovered.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, most of them right now are fucking, getting COVID, heat exhaustion, disease, drug addiction, in and out of prison. So yeah.
And so yeah, it is a very hard choice, but culturally, I do think it's more acceptable to live at home. But it's inflation and wages.
But do you think that then during the Great Depression, because I believe the family unit was actually probably closer 100 years ago than it was today?
Yeah, but there was some. No, you're right. I don't know why it's different. Really, I'm just speculating. There were a lot more places to go outside of your home.
Right. I mean, just think about what minimum wage is. If you're getting paid that shitty wage, or let's say you're a server. I mean, that's been the same wage, $3.25 in Texas. That's my entire life.
Well, let me say, I think a big part of it also is with COVID, a lot of people who worked in an office were allowed to work from home. And so you have the proposition of, well, do I keep paying rent or do I just go home and straight save money and, like have an okay life, like with my parents and whatever.
Yeah, but
so that was a choice people made last year.
I agree, but I think that it wasn't because they wanted to. It's because they couldn't do anything else. And then upon that realization, even if they were getting unemployment, right, they realize, well, fuck, I'm never going to work my way up at this dead-end job. You know what I mean? I'm never going to make... I'm either going to have to get another career. I'm going to have to figure something else out, right? Because the rent's too damn high. If the rent is already right now $1,200 a month, this job isn't going to cut it, right? What the fuck am I going to do? Am I going to go live in a really, really shitty apartment? You know what I mean? Am I going to live in a decent apartment? Because to live in a decent apartment is, if you want to live in like the inner city of just Houston right now, which is not one of the most expensive cities, you're going to pay over $1,000.
Yeah.
Easily $1,200. Yeah.
There are two factors that influence. Anytime you see a large spike like that, it's not just one factor. That is part of it, but also I think people really want to save money, and they're faced with the fact of, do I pay thousands of dollars in rent, or is it preferable to just like save my pants for a little bit, save up, and then if the economic collapse happens, then maybe I can, raid their pantry or something like that.
Well, also, if it does happen, then deflation sets in, and that actually does fix quite a bit of things. Like we said, we have to hit rock bottom before we can fix a lot of this shit. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So everyone stop helping.
Right.
Make it worse.
Let's make it worse. Well, Coleman, I want to thank you for joining us. You were a great co-host today. I really appreciate your help. Thank you again. Had a great time.
It was fun. Loved it.
I had a great time. I will be back on Sunday with Albert on Instagram TV to do Booze News interviews with a friend of the show, Q Agenti, which is going to be fun. So tune into that. Yeah, Q Agenti on 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thanks, you guys, and cheers.